We recently visited Peru with Adventures by Disney. We broke our flight there into 2 legs. We had an overnight layover in Miami, which gave us a little time to enjoy an amazing hotel room and some time by the pool with some locals. We boarded our flight to Peru for the second leg of our journey. So the adventure begins 5 hours from Miami to Lima. We arrived in Lima late in the evening and headed to our hotel to another amazing room with a spectacular view of the city. With a good night's sleep, we woke up ready for our first day exploring Lima. After breakfast, we met our Disney guides, Rudy and Ralph, and got checked in. Day 1 was just check-in, so we arranged for our own tour of Lima, and our first stop was El Parque de Amor, or Love Park. It's surrounded by walls of romantic quotes on mosaic tiles and a huge statue at the center. Next was Huaca Pucllana, a great adobe and clay pyramid located in the Miraflores district of central Lima. This large complex was built around 500 BC by the Lima culture, a pre-Incan civilization. Then we were off to a local open-air market to sample some of Peru's unique fruit and vegetables. They also had chicken, but only the no feathers version. We continued on to the Bridge of Sighs, where legend has it if you make a wish and hold your breath until you cross, your wish comes true. Ready? See if it comes true. We made our way to the coast in Chorrillos Pier. The pier has stunning views of the Pacific Ocean and a glimpse into the daily life of local fishermen. We walked into a fish market where we saw an amazing array of seafood, so fresh the crabs and shrimp were still moving. Our final stop was the Plaza Mayor. We did several things here. We did a pisco tasting, which is a local Peruvian drink, a chocolate tasting, we explored the convent of St. Francis, which included venturing into the catacombs. No pictures allowed in the convent, so you'll have to Google those for yourself. Day 2 began with an early breakfast and our first gathering as a full group, and then off to the airport to catch our flight to Cusco. Now Lima is at sea level, but Cusco is at 11,000 feet elevation, so apologies if the initial photos are out of focus. Our first stop was the Center for Traditional Textiles. We had what would become the first of many spectacular meals there and encountered our first llamas, or alpacas, I get them confused. We got a demonstration from the local artisans on how they make many of their products.
Different designs and different
Fascinating ways they get the colors. Our hotel for the next few days was the Tambo del Inca. And wow, lots of stars, just stay here if you go to the Sacred Valley. They even had resident alpacas. I think I got it right this time. Marshall would become friends with these two over the next few days, but I reminded her that they would not fit in the airplane's overhead compartment. Our dinner was a traditional Peruvian cookout called a pachamanca, meats and vegetables cooked in a pit in the ground. First opportunity to sample things like alpaca and cuy, aka guinea pig. No, it does not taste like chicken. Dinner included a show with native dancers in extraordinary costumes. And after a long day, we settled in to rest up for the next day's adventure. Day 3 started with whitewater rafting on the Orumbamba River. I've only done this once, way back in high school, so I wasn't exactly clear on the whole Class 2, Class 3 thing they talked about. Things started off easy enough as we slowly paddled our way downriver, passing incredible sights along the way. Ancient ruins and current Airbnb lodging huts way up there on the side of the mountain. Not advised for sleepwalkers. Further downriver, the current picked up a bit, and our guide's calls for paddle and stop became a little bit more urgent. But we survived and celebrated that survival with the traditional paddle high fives. We changed back into dry clothes as our guides laid the equipment out to dry. Had to be a little brand placement. After a snack, it was off to the Ollantaytambo ruins. Before exploring, I got to showcase my acting skills reenacting an ancient Incan folktale. Pretty sure I was the good guy based on the fact that I ended up with the girl in the end. Then it was time to climb. During the Inca Empire, this site was the royal estate of Emperor Pachuchuti, who conquered the region and built the town and a ceremonial center in the 15th century. Once again, we were able to see the precision stone cutting and placement the Incas used in construction. Climbing the ruins at 10,000 feet elevation was tiring, but the views from the top were worth it. After a long day of adventuring, our local guide Rudy treated us to a stop at an Inca bar for some chicha. It's kind of like beer but made from corn. Definitely an acquired taste. We grabbed a photo with Miss Mercedes, the owner, and played Juego de Sapo in the courtyard. Our next day started with a visit to the Moray ruins. This site is believed to have been a research facility for growing crops. The depth, design, and orientation of the terraces creates slightly different climates from the top to the bottom. Stone steps built into the terrace walls allow climbing from one to another. We boarded our buses to our next stop, the Miraz Salt Mine. I got to hold the sign of power for a few minutes before we began our 1.5-mile hike along the edge of the mine. And of course, we whistled a vaguely familiar tune along the way. The different plots are family owned and the salt is processed on site. And yes, they carry the large bags of salt by hand to that processing site. Marshall had salted water poured on her hand, which dried within seconds. Along the way, we encountered a pop-up Disney store, manned by our guide Ralph, who had oranges for sale at the cost of 1 pebble each. Refreshed, we continued our hike, grabbed a few pics. Think there's a carved face in the rocks there, maybe? And then finished the last portion crossing over the river we had rafted that morning. Obviously the non-rapids portion. As luck would have it, it was lunchtime. Yes, there was more than a dessert bar. After lunch, we had a horse show. They mentioned something about the unique gallop of the horses. Sure, okay. And of course, we grabbed pics with the stars. We had some time before dinner to enjoy the hotel pool and the local brew pub. I had the red beer, Marshall the yellow, and we passed on the green. We did have the best potato chips ever in Peru, by the way. Before dinner, Marshall participated in a demo on making pisco sours. She did not share hers with me, but it looked good. We had a cooking demonstration as well, just to ensure we were hungry, and then had a chance to make our own pizzas before calling it a night. Day 5 was the big day, Machu Picchu. Not the easiest place to get to, though. First a bus to the train station, then a 90-minute train ride along the Sacred Valley with great views along the way of the Andes, ruins, and yes, the same river we rafted yesterday. Leaving the train, we strolled through the town of Machu Picchu and got some photos. Then we boarded another bus that would take us up the narrow road to the top. And yes, I mean up, and yes, I mean narrow. Arriving at the top, we began to hike into the site, following the sign of power, of course. Walking on the original Inca trip.
Indeed.
Going the wrong way, but that's okay. Now, I've seen this place in pictures and on TV many times, and it looks impressive, but actually being there, I can tell you was a completely different experience. When you're looking down on Machu Picchu in person, it hits you where you are, high up in the Andes Mountains at these ancient ruins that, let's be honest, really do fit the bill of a lost city. Like the other sites we had visited, the construction was amazing, and the fact that they did it on the top of a mountain was even more spectacular. And as if building it on top of a mountain wasn't enough, they built it in alignment with the cardinal directions and with the peaks of their sacred mountains surrounding. We saw the living quarters, the observatory, the temples, oh and yes, some of these as well. At lunch, we saw pictures of what it looked like in 1913 when Hiram Bingham discovered it. These pics show the then to now, and I'm going to make a video dedicated to Machu Picchu in the future. But I'll leave you with this. If you can find a way, go. It is absolutely worth it. Heading home, we did the reverse trip. Bus down the narrow mountain road to the train, but this time, it was the party train with drinks, live music, and dancing. Yes, dancing on a moving train. We started day 6 with a hearty breakfast at the hotel, and then off to see llamas, or alpacas.
Oh my god.
First, a stop at a cueria. Yes, a stand where you can get roasted guinea pig on a stick. Fortunately, I'd already checked that off the list, so I passed. Reminder, it does not taste like chicken. We then stopped at the town of Pisac for some shopping. We needed to get gifts for our white white guinea pig gift exchange at the farewell dinner. Gifts in hands, it was back to the bus. And can I just give a shout out now to the bus drivers who navigate these narrow roads? And then it was off to the Solca Textile Center, where we were told about a contest. All right, so we're having a selfie contest. Who can take the best selfie with a llama? Everybody's trying to get that prize-winning selfie. Marshall, going for the prize. Needless to say, the photos were hysterical, and I did finally learn the difference between llamas and alpacas. We then headed to our new hotel in Cusco, the Palacio del Inca, housed within a 500-year-old mansion in the heart of the city. Rooms were a bit small, but the hotel was amazing. It was like staying at a museum. Day 7 was spent exploring Cusco, but not without a splendid breakfast buffet to get started, and this is just one of 6 stations. First stop was Sagse Woman. Kind of sounds like sexy woman, right? And don't think that wasn't brought up once or twice. We approached from above and started off through a tunnel which was pitch black, narrow, and frightened a few of our group off. Of course, there was a legend surrounding these tunnels about lost boys, not from the movie, but ones that wandered into the tunnels and disappeared. Except for one that reappeared days later in a temple in the city below. The complex was built by the Incas in the 15th century, with walls constructed of huge stones built on site. The workers carefully cut the boulders to fit them together so tightly they didn't need mortar. Oh, I forgot to mention the rock slides. I tried it, Marshall elected the video. We finished exploring the site, and then of course it was time for pictures. First us, then the whole group, then the guys, and then the ladies. And one which included some local school kids on a field trip. It was wonderful. They were excited, we were excited, Disney magic. We then walked down the hill to the city center, navigating walkways and streets decorated with murals and flowers as we made our way to Sabino Music. Here we learned about Andean music and made our own pan flutes, which of course we had to play as a group. I thought we were pretty good after just one lesson. Ralph, our guide, was undecided. We had the afternoon to explore on our own and visited the cathedral where we saw a painting of the Last Supper, but in this version they had cuy on the menu. We wandered the plaza, which had both a McDonald's and a Starbucks. No, we did not. We opted for Peruvian Asian cuisine at Kion, which was delish. We finished the afternoon visiting the Regional History Museum and exploring around the hotel. As Cusco was the ancient Incan capital of Peru, there was history literally everywhere. Our final dinner included a traditional Inca ceremony, a wonderful meal, more dancing, and of course our gift exchange. We enjoyed the time we spent with our new friends on this adventure, and yes, we were sad for it to come to an end, but felt blessed to have had the experience of being here. Bags packed, the next morning, we set off for the airport with a final goodbye from our amazing guides and new friends, Rudy and Ralph. This truly was an incredible adventure and an amazing life experience, and one we will cherish forever.